Sanamaloa. So this is a post full moon video. And the theme here is the world's not collapsing, it's rebooting. We're officially in a new timeline now. So the full moon, remember, it activated the 35, the 35th gate, and the 36 is Saturn. Saturn's still in there. And so this was about crises, the dark night of the soul, getting squeezed, right? Like you're in the emotional tunnel, and then coming out the gate of progress with the light. So squeeze to come into this new timeline, basically. And so we're officially in it now because Pluto has moved into the 41st gate. So if we look at here, the mandala, this is the mandala. It takes Pluto 248 years to move around the mandala, right? So there's all of the numbers, right? All of the numbers, the 64 gates, and then all the zodiac signs, right? So it's like the sun and all the planets move around this mandala. In the sun, it takes approximately 365 days to move around the mandala, and then Pluto 248 years. So it's moved back to the start codon. That's this 41. Everything begins here at the 41. And there's the 41 there at the root. Right? So this is like a 248-year cycle. So this is definitely the start. This is the new timeline for humanity. And it's going to be there until January 2029 in the 41st gate. And it moved in there hours, literally hours after the full moon. So that in itself is telling us that we're in this new timeline. And maybe you're feeling it yourself, like something's different, something has shifted. Right? Within me, there's something shifted. So if we go back here to the rave charts, right? So there's Pluto in the 41. It's been in the 60 for years, right? Back and forth. It dipped into the 41 a little bit this year, but then moved back into the 60. So what was the 60 about that we've been in there for years? Since 2023, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But a long time, right? A couple years. So this was about limitation. It was about mutation, pressure, compression. This is the old era dying. And basically Pluto in gate 60 was saying, sit down, don't move, be still, face your limitations, and mutate or die. You're either living your life or you're dying your life. So dying doesn't mean like literally dying, but it means being not self, remaining not self. Because what's dead is your authenticity. Your authenticity's dead. You're not alive when you're not self. There's no life there. You're an NPC. You're just like a little robot. You're an extra on the movie set, right? So that's what dying means. So gate 60 is the literal mutative pressure through restriction. It forces breakdown. It forces limitation, right? And it forces you to mutate. So for the collective, this can look like global systems hitting hard limits, economic ceilings, biological health limits, environmental thresholds, right? Political deadlocks, social exhaustion, and emotional burnout. So this is the end of the cross of planning support structures, right? End of the cross of planning support structures that I've talked about in my videos. So this is like civilization like feeling like it's running out of runway. There's no more room to keep going the way that we've been going, right? So gate 60, right? Gate 60, and it's been nonstop progress since 1615, right? We've gone as far as we can go now with this, which I'll talk about, this consciousness of the cross of planning, right? So this is no longer capable. The tribe, this tribal consciousness can no longer carry the load, basically. So gate 60 says the old structure can't sustain itself anymore, right? So this gate forces mutations from the bottom up, right? There's this pressure here in the 60. And the 60 is the bottleneck before transformation. So Pluto's been sitting there for years, and it's been a pressure cooker, right? Because it's been forcing society to mutate. We can't go on like we've been going on. So then Pluto's entering gate 41, right? This is the new beginning. All beginnings start with this 41st codon. So this is the seed, right? This is when the Pluto, right? When Pluto, the planet of death, rebirth, irreversible transformation. Pluto is about truth. Pluto is all about truth. And so this means that we're beginning a whole new experience as a humanity. So this is the 2027, right? This is the beginning into this 2027 frequency. So this is a new desire for humanity and the collective can emerge. And it's not desire like a craving. It's the impulse to begin a whole new way of being. A whole new way of being. So 41 is the pressure to experience something different, right? And it transforms whatever it touches. It's Pluto. So we get the collective pressure to end the old storyline, and begin a completely new one as a humanity. Right? So gate 60 was humanity trapped in a cycle of limitations and rules. Like the 60 is the bureaucracy and the red tape, you know? Little g is 60, so many rules upon us in the cross of planning. Old system karmic loops, spiritual karmic loops that we've been in. And we're all saying now as a humanity, we're saying, you know what, we're done. We're done with this movie. We're done with this movie. We don't want to be in this movie anymore. We want a new movie. We don't want the movie of war and conflict and poverty and right grinding and hustling, the 9-to-5 grind. We don't want that movie anymore. The survival movie. We want a new movie. This is what humanity is saying. So let's load the next one, right? Let's load the next one. So this is why people are suddenly leaving marriages, right? Quitting their careers, abandoning old identities, feeling zero resonance with the past, right? Refusing to play tribal roles, dropping the karmic patterns overnight. I'm done with this. And this is the genetic shift beginning to hum through the field, right? So this is the dreaming stage, right? 41's about the dreaming stage, right? It's imagining, right? You're imagining now what your life could be. Humanity is imagining this as a whole. So this isn't the mutation itself, it's the dream code for the mutation. So the collective begins fantasizing about a new future because the old structures have collapsed with that 60th gate. And the new emotional awareness, which is the 55, hasn't emerged yet. It hasn't arrived yet. So the mutation, the mutative pressure is now activating the seed of what will replace it. And that's that 41. So this is why the collective currently feels like something new is coming. We can feel it. Something new is coming. Some people feel dread about that because an old identity has to go. And some people feel excited. They're anticipating, right? That's the gift here of the 41. It's like, I'm anticipating something that's coming, right? It's going to be here. But I don't know what it's yet. I don't know what it is yet, right? So this is the end of materialism. If you look at Pluto in the 62, it's the end of materialism. The cross of planning was the most material era of our time. And now it's the start of experience, right? Now it's the start of experience. So gate 60 is the root, right? It's a root gate. And now in 41 is the root too. So the root controls collective stress, drive, survival, accumulation. Gate 60 was how do we sustain the structure? How do we keep these structures still going, alive, right? This would be the, in the new one, the new era with the 41 is feel, mutate, right? Express, awaken. It's not about maintaining these structures anymore, right? So gate 41 is saying, what new experiences want to emerge? What new experiences do you want that you feel is coming? So this is massive. So it's really, so we're going from outer material reality, Pluto in the 60, and then we're moving into inner emotional mutative reality, right? So this is the collective relying on data, logic, structures, little g, government, institutions, and now moving from that to relying on your own emotional truth, right? Your individual intuition, your spiritual embodied awareness, your creative resonance, right? Your fractal alignment, right? Your creativity, your authenticity. So this is the actual shift. This is a huge shift to go from the 60 to the 41 with Pluto, knowing that it's going to be there until 2029. Right? So this is when the emotional wave from the solar plexus starts to dominate the collective field. Right? So this is starting the emotional mutation, right? This 41, this pressure. And this is why the world can seem intensely emotional, chaotic, polarized. There's so much polarization on the world right now, reactive, raw, right? Spiritually cracked open and done with the fakeness. People are done with the fakeness. They want authenticity now. They're done with the fake bullshit, right? The Hollywood glamoring, right? All of that, they're done with it. Celebrity culture, they're done with it. They don't want any fake anymore. So this is the pre-mutation storm. Right? This is right. This is part of this building, right? It's building the wave, building this wave. So basically, we're on the runway, right? We're on the runway towards 2027 with Pluto now in the 41st. And so this is why you, on my fractal, very sensitive, right? You can feel the timelines collapsing. You can feel this. You can feel the karma, right? The karmic is completion, karmic completion. You can feel relationships are dissolving just on their own, right? There's the energy is just disappearing. soul alliances, right? Maybe they haven't appeared yet, but the soul alliances will start to emerge. This is your true fractal. And a new frequency is humming beneath the surface. So you can you feel that? So we're really in a transition stage, right? And this is the seed. Pluto is activating the seed here. So you want to trust your dreams. You want to trust your visions, what come to you at this time, right? You're getting a glimmer, right? A glimmer into the future here. So it's very exciting. And, if we go back to the full moon activated the 35. You can go watch my video if you haven't already, right? So this was the release of the old timeline, the full moon. 35 was all about experience, change, completion. And this was the crises, going through some kind of crises for this full moon, right? This got lit up before Pluto got into the 41. Because the 36 breaks, it's about breaking, the 35 is completion, and then the 41 can begin here. So this is a phoenix moment. This is totally a phoenix moment. The story closes, the fire starts to burn, and then the seed gets activated. And then the other thing, because this is the exact time that Pluto went into the 41, Pluto is also at this time trining Uranus, right? Trining Uranus in the 8th gate. The 8th gate is all about being your authentic self. So this is a mutative, individual timeline. It's about you individuating, you becoming your authentic self, right? Trines are supportive. It's supportive energy. And it's also flow. Trine is like a flow. It's a flow. Okay. So this new timeline is helping you to become your authentic self. So the more you come into your authentic self, the more you just fall into your correct timeline. It's a surrender, right? It's surrendering to your authenticity and knowing that you'll be guided, right? Guided into your timeline. So basically you jump tracks, right? You jump tracks. So you may be feeling this pressure well before the collective does, right? So Saturn in the 36 is still activating that, and Saturn is saying, are you done with this old story? Are you done with this old story? Are you sure you're done with this old story? Okay, so the old karmic loop has to dissolve. Maybe it's dissolved already. And then this new stream, it's like a new stream that you're on, that you're surrendered on. Okay. So let's look at you personally, how this is going to affect you. Okay, well, that's like getting ahead of ourselves here. Okay, so for you personally, right? Personally, let's ground it, right? Ground it for you. So the old identity, your old identity is disintegrating, it's dissolving, right? And this came through limitation with Pluto in the 60. That came through limitations for you that you may experienced in your life. And Pluto activates now this new timeline, and that old identity can't go with you. Now this is your old cross of planning identity. This is your survival identity. Can't come into this new timeline. So this can show up like, I don't know who I am anymore. My old life doesn't feel real. It feels surreal, my old life. I just don't fit there anymore. I can't pretend or force myself into anything that's false. Everything familiar is dissolving. Everything around me that's familiar is dissolving. So that could be friendship, jobs, place of living. I feel like a different person. I feel like a completely different person. And it's scaring me. It's scaring me. So this is you entering the void state. That's the void state. And that's the pre-mutation emptiness. You're being emptied. You're being purged. So you're like the drop of water, right? The drop of water in the sky, and it's cold, right? And here you are, you're this drop of water, and you're quivering, right? You're quivering, and there's a moment where you're about to like go into an infinite, you can go into, this is quantum, right? You can go into an infinite potential of a snowflake, right? There's these infinite potentials, but you're like that scared little water drop right now, right? It's like, where am I going? I don't see anything. I don't see anything ahead of me, right? So you're in this pre-mutative state. You're breaking away from tribal expectations, right? So this is like not entangled anymore. You're not karmically entangled through toxic marriage dynamics. This could be a big Pluto in the 41 is released. The Pluto in the 60 kept you in the karma. Pluto in the 41 is releasing you from your karmic entanglement. But maybe you're that scared little water drop and you want to try to go back. You want to go back to the old. You want to stay with that karmic entanglement. You got Stockholm syndrome, right? It's like, I want to stay with the karmic because at least I know it. It's familiar. It's not unknown. But no, Pluto in the 41 is like, no, you need to step into the new now. And this does not include your karmic entanglements. You can be entangled with mother wounds, right? Mother wounds, wanting to bring your earthly mother into this timeline, right? And she's not there. She's not there in her consciousness. Overgiving, fake peacekeeping, keeping the peace at the expense of you, your body. Being the emotional shock absorber for others. Working jobs that drain you, and living lives that were not chosen by your soul. Not chosen by your soul, right? They were chosen by your ego. They were chosen by your fear, that cross-planning identity. Right? So Pluto in the 60 says your limitations are killing you. They're killing you. They're killing your soul. And Pluto in the 41 says you're free. Now step into the unknown. You're liberated. You're free now. Step into the unknown. So you're either leaving the tribe, you're leaving the relationship, you're leaving the JOB, you're leaving the identity, or you're collapsing because you can't pretend anymore. You're in that position, like you're paralysis, right? Like in the freeze state. And so your emotional body is mutating because the 41 begins the emotional stream, right? So this is, you can feel heightened emotional, like emotional waves. You can experience spiritual longing. Grief can surface. Unexplainable tears, crying for no reason. Desire for intimacy, desire for truth, desire for embodiment, and the inability to settle for good enough. Good enough is not tolerable. I can't tolerate this as good enough, this relationship. And a deep yearning for the real thing. You know that there's a real thing, right? So this is your heart opening. It's your heart cracking open. You become more receptive, right? You can become more receptive to the divinity, to your intuition, right? To spiritual messages. You become very receptive to. Your aura gets stronger, right? And you're beginning to tap into your spiritual gifts, right? You know things. I know, I don't know, I just know, right? You can no longer tolerate the karmic partners, right? So this is the pressure to start a whole new relationship, right? And a whole new emotional story for you, where you're alive, right? Where you're alive. So this is leaving emotionally dead partnerships, right? Emotionally repressed partnerships. It's like your roommates, right? You're just roommates, colleagues, right? You share the bills, maybe share the bed. You don't share any passion or intensity or romance, any of that, right? You see narcissistic partners, right? You're walking away from that. You're seeing the patterns. You're seeing where you're stagnant, where you're not growing, where you're not evolving. There's no growth in your relationships. You're walking away from the role of the caretaker, the healing, the healer. You're done with mothering men, right? Boys and men's bodies. You're done being the mother. You're ending trauma bonds here. And you refuse to tolerate lukewarm masculine energy. And these are the banana spine. Banana spine men, they're just lukewarm. They're not passionate. They're not in their masculine energy. They're not on purpose, right? They're just the wishy-washy banana spine man. So you're done with that. So Pluto in the 41 says the relationship this old relationship, this karmic relationship, you can't take into the new timeline. You can't drag that karmic into your new timeline, right? So this is letting go of entanglements. Your soul contracts, right? Your karmic contracts with these partners is ending. That's what this says with Pluto in the 41. And the Pluto in the 41 says you're opening to spiritual union. That's what you really want, is spiritual union. You want someone to meet you soul to soul. Soul to soul. That's what you want. Not the karmic enmeshment. You don't want that anymore. So you become receptive to clean masculine energy. That's what you want. And you know it in your body. You can feel it. When you're around a divine masculine, you can feel it. Your body relaxes. Your body is open. It's like, this is what I want. This is what I want. So you're no longer fixing men. You're not interested in that anymore. You're no longer interested in healing men. You're no longer into carrying men, right? You want to choose the masculine that honors your soul, right? So this is basically Pluto in the 41 is rebirth. This is Phoenix energy. You're rebirthing into your authenticity. Your individuality starts to strengthen. Your intuitive nature starts to expand. Your authenticity awakens. Your divine feminine starts to come online here with Pluto in the 41. Very exciting. Let me just have a little sip here. So let's go to a quote from the Bible from Jesus. And you're like, what's he talking about like this? Well, we have to go back to our Cathar's past lives. If you haven't watched the my video on the High Priestess in Hiding, and it's linked to a little documentary about the Cathars, you need to watch it. A lot of my fractals are Cathar past lives, right? And so they were persecuted and burned alive, basically. They split off from the Catholic Church, the organized religious dogma, and they lived the teachings of Christ, right? It was all about gnosis. It's all about having your own direct connection with the divine and learning from that, right? So that was a big threat. So this was a pre-mutation of the 2027 Phoenix mutation, but the time wasn't right in the 1300s. But now it is. Remember the 700-year prophecy that the Cathars would be back, and that's 2023. So we're back, right? So we're starting to remember. So I wanted to bring in a teaching of Christ, and then I'll translate it for you for 2027. So what did he say? He said, again, I tell you, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. Right? So you may have heard this before. So what does this mean? It means the old self, right, cannot pass into this new frequency of 2027. The old self. Right? So the old self is the rich man. I'll explain what the rich man is. So this is like your ego baggage. Your not self can't squeeze through the mutation point. So the eye of the needle is the 41st gate. That's the 41st gate, right? So there you are, the eye of the needle. And there's the phoenix on the other side. So this is like the single genetic code, the star codon 41 that starts all human experiences. You have to pass through that. There's no new beginning until you move through the 41. So this is when the mutation activates. So what does this mean then? Only your essence, right? Only your essence can move through this needle, the 41st gate. Everything extra stays behind. All the survival, coping mechanisms that you took on as starting from childhood, that always has to be left behind. Only your essence can move through there. Right? So this new world requires lightness. Lightness of being. Right? It's be the light, spread the light, right? You spread the light. So what we have here, we have the needle as the mutation point, right? So you're being stripped down. That's why all this loss is happening in your life, because you're being stripped down. You're being stripped away of not-self, right? And the rich man, right? And it's making you surrender. That's what you really have to do, is just completely surrender. It's like, how much more loss can I take? Keep surrendering to the divine, right? And that's the lesson. So the rich man, if we go back, what's the rich man? That's your cross of planning survival identity, right? So it's not literally about money. It's about the version of you that's full. This is the materialist, right? The materialist woman, right? She's full, right? She's full. She's rich in the material, right? She's full of demiurge, right? The demiurge system. Too full. She's way too full to receive the mutation, to receive the mutation. So this is the cross of planning self that refuses to die. So what's the rich man? The rich man is karma. It can be your karmic relationship, trying to get your karmic relationship through that needle. Old identities, right? The roles you play, the partner, the wife, the girlfriend, the mother, the daughter, the sister, the healer, the teacher, the light worker, whatever identity is, the old cross of planning roles. We all had to play a role. We all had to play a role in the cross of planning, right? We had to contribute for the good of the whole to keep this whole system going. You can't bring that in. You can't bring those old roles in. You can't bring in expectations. You can't bring in trauma loops. You can't bring in false security. That job that's killing your soul, right? That karmic relationship that's killing your soul. That's the false security. You can't bring in obligations, tribal obligations. Well, you're my spouse, so you have to stick by me until you're dead, right? That's the cross of planning, tribal obligations. You're my child, so you gotta stick around and take care of me when I'm old. You owe me, right? You owe me. That's the tribal obligations, right? I supported you for this long, now you owe me. Right? The tit for tat. You can't bring this into the needle, into the new. You can't bring in your material attachments, right? All your material attachments that you have, all your things, you know? Not to say that you're not going to have material things, but it's about letting go of your attachment to them. Well, if I lose my house or I lose my car, there's what's left? Me. What's left when I physically die? Me, when my body dies, right? This is the attachment. It's like you're letting go of just the attachment, that I'll still be me. I'll still have my authenticity, right? It doesn't matter to me. The material things don't keep me safe, and secure. My security lies in my authenticity now. That's letting go of the attachments, and that means creation can serve you because they're going to serve your authentic self, and it's going to be aligned with your purpose, your soul purpose, your destiny path. So letting go of fear of loss, right? Fear of loss. So this is like, what do I want to say? The rich man is successful in the material world. What were you successful at? You have to let go of. I was really good at being a good daughter. I was really good at being a good wife. I succeeded at that. Well, that can't go through there. Our whole definition of success is changing. It's all about you being true to yourself, right? You're not focused on other people. That was rewarded for women in the cross of planning. Putting everybody's needs above your own, right? That was rewarded. It's not going to be rewarded into the era of the sleeping phoenix. You succeeded at being emotionally available for everybody, right? Succeeded at keeping the peace. Succeeded at caretaking. Succeeded at holding your tribe together. Holding your family of origin together, right? So you became rich and not self, right? Rich and not self. You were applauded. The tribe applauded you for wearing that mask. They valued you for being not yourself, right? You got all your praise from not being yourself, and your soul died inside. Your ego was ecstatic. Your ego's ecstatic about the applause, but your soul is like, they don't really see me. They don't really see me, right? Guilt, shame, responsibility, self-sacrifice, patterns of overgiving, relationships you outgrew, roles that suffocated you, right? You can't bring that into the new timeline, right? You can't walk into this new era carrying that. You can't carry the not self. So what about the poor man? If we do the opposite, the poor man can walk through there. The poor woman can walk through there, right? So what does this mean? This is, it's not literally like poverty, right? It's you're poor, meaning you emptied yourself out of the rich. I'm rich in material, but I'm poor in spirit. Right? I emptied out, I surrendered, I'd released the attachments, I did the work, I did the shadow work, I did my inner child work, I stayed true to my intuition, I emptied, right? I emptied myself, I purified myself. I dropped the roles. I refuse to play these roles anymore. I refuse to be the fixer, right? Fixing everybody, running and dealing with their crises, putting everyone's needs above my own. I dropped it. I let the old identity collapse, the cross of planning survival identity collapse. I became transparent. Meaning I took off the mask. You know what? I'm not playing a role anymore. I'm not pretending I'm someone that I'm not. This is who I am. Take me or leave me. Right? And they accepted, right? You accept it yourself for who you really are. Right? And that's the first step. That's what human design is all about. It's about accepting who you are. Right? It's about loving who you are. It's not from an ego place. Has nothing to do with the ego. It's just accepting yourself, right? That means to love yourself. So basically the not self cannot go through the needle, can't enter the kingdom of heaven, which is the 2027 Phoenix frequency. So this is why you're being purged right now. If you want to know why, that's why. You're being purged. And this is why you're being stripped. You're being stripped down to your essence, to who you really are. And your soul is ecstatic. Your soul is on fire. Finally, we get to express in this lifetime, for the first time, our true radiance, right? Our true radiance. It's the ego that's miserable. Right? No, I have to hold on to this. I have to hold on to that. Where am I going to get my validation? I need validation from the external. I need to be pumped up and praised. Right? And that's not you. That's your not self. And this is what has to go. Right? That has to go, not self. Okay. So this is why you're collapsing internally. You may feel that like your nervous system is just fried and overloaded. It's because you're purging, right? Okay. So this is about mutation. This time is about mutation. It's about entering the new era. It's about identity death. And it's only your essence can pass through that needle into the 41st gate. Okay. So one of the things, I mean, I can talk about a lot of things about what you have to let go of, but I want to talk about rightness and leftness. And this has to do with your variable. Your variable. So if we look at these, okay, so you can see this rightness and leftness. So if you look at your chart, right, you have arrows right there, these arrows. And so there can be different combinations, right? So it could be like all right, 4 parts right. It could be that could be right, left, right? So there's all these different combinations. And so, and you can see here, this is actually me. So I'm 3 parts right, 1 part left. And my part left is a gift for you, actually, is that I have 1 left arrow. And then this one is right. This person is 3 parts left and 1 part right. So you want to check your chart. But basically, I'm just speaking about overall in terms of rightness and leftness. Rightness and leftness. So left, so we're moving from a left world into a right world. So what does this mean? The left is strategic, it's linear, it's logical, it's all about planning. So it's cross the planning. System building, repetition, prove it, right? Show me the data. And right is receptive, it's panoramic, it's seeing the bigger view. Leftness is analytical, it's putting things in boxes. It's intuitive, it's mutation, it's feeling it in the body, it's trusting the wave. So basically the cross of planning from 1615 to 2027, it's been making a shrine to the leftness and the logic. And our whole educational system is about this. It was for people who are left. So if you look at your arrows, right? School was a nightmare for me because I'm 3 parts right. I only have 1 part left, right? The people that have left, they thrive in school, in academia, right? Because they're it's just who they are. We live in a left world. So this is institutions, it's government, it's science, it's the experts, right? That's 62. Trust the experts, protocols, economies, 10-year plans, 5-year plans, mental authority. Leftness was all about mental authority. So the sleeping phoenix is the rise of the rightness. The sleeping phoenix era in 2027 is this rise of rightness. So the people that are right, they're going to feel it's becoming more and more their world. And I'm finding that myself, right? As we come closer to 2027, I feel that the world's becoming matched with who I am. So this is aura-based knowing. It's emotional awareness. It's individual truth. It's your inner technology. It's your embodiment. It's about synchronicity instead of strategy. Leftness is about strategy, right? Rightness is, am I aligned? Am I aligned with my authenticity? Am I aligned with my divinity? It's about frequency. So basically Pluto, right? Pluto in the 41, moving into the 41, is like the eviction notice. Pluto in the 41 is giving the eviction notice to the left. The left is going, and then making room for this right. The right's coming in. So Pluto in the 60 was like face the limitation of your systems. The old structures can't carry you anymore. These old structures can't carry you anymore. And you know, the new species coming in after 2027, we're getting a glimpse piece of it with a peek at it with the telepathy tapes. If you watch the telepathy tapes, right? There's going to be more and more humans born like this with the telepathy. I mean, that's another video that I could do. But basically education, our educational system has to completely shift because it's those in the telepathy tapes, they're right. They're totally right. They're not left. They're not going to fit in. And there's going to be a majority of them, right? There was a minority of the right, but there's more and more people with rightness that's coming in. So this is, we can see this, right? The old structures, the old left, what's happening with it? It's collapsing. So this is the economies are maxed out. Institutions are rotting, decaying. People aren't going to higher education as much. There's such a distrust in our educational system. It's more like an indoctrination system now. Experts are losing their credibility, right? So that's the leftness losing its power. People hitting burnout from over planning and over strategizing. And Pluto in the 41 and the star code on is like, we're moving more into emotional, feeling, mutative. It's messy. It's non-linear and it's right coded. So the left, right, is the not self success stories, and that's that rich man, right? The rich man, the one who struggles the most to pass through the 41. They're going to have the trouble, right? The left are going to have the trouble because they're full of identity. The leftness is full of identity. They're full of status. They're full of logic, right? And roles. They're loyal to structures that are now dying. And they worship the intellect. And they're the experts. They're the so-called expert. They're not going to be able to move through the 41, right? The 41. So the rich man is a successful not self of the cross of planning. Yeah. So how this works with my fractal is like, let's look at the right. And so I'm looking at you that have 3 parts right or 4 parts right. Right? So this is like the mystics, the artists, the high priestess, and they've been living in a left brain, corporation. They're strategists, hyper-logical caretakers, professional fixers and planners. The good daughters, right? The serving the systems and the karmic men. They're science trained. They trust the science. These are like, this is totally not self. They're the healers that rely on science, right? And logic. So they're basically right beings. Maybe this is you. Let me know in the comment section. A right being that's forced into a left timeline. And for me, I've always been this way. When it's like in the school system, it hurt my head. It hurt me. Like it energetically hurt me to try to be left. And I'm not left, right? And we do this to try to fit in because we worship the intellect. We've been conditioned to worship the intellect and the left, right? But once you start to embrace your rightness, life's just so much easier, And that's why I love AI. If somebody has some detail, question, Siri, what's the definition of blah, blah, blah? There's the definition. You give them the details. That's the beauty of AI. The AI's taken over the left so that we can evolve and we can mutate, right, into this right. One of the reasons, that's another video I want to really explore and go deeper with that. Okay, so this is what happens when you go against your rightness. If you go against your rightness, then your body breaks down. That's the first thing to go with the divine feminines. Migraines, gut stuff, right? Digestive issues, fatigue, weird symptoms, emotional collapse, spiritual crises, and karmic relationships imploding. Total rejection of old roles. Why? Because the right body, right, the rightness cannot carry the left, not self-conditioning into this new timeline. So if you're experiencing that, then it's time to embrace your rightness and let this left go. Right? That's an old world. It's an old world that's dying. So your nervous system is literally saying we're not going through the eye of the needle carrying this. That's what your body's communicating to you. You can't go through this mutation carrying the left, not self. Right? So it's like I see people, right, that they're all right. They've got all the Phoenix codes. They've got all the numbers. You look at their astrology chart. They've got tons of water. They have fire, right? They may have a little bit of air, tiny bit of air. What do? They're completely relying on logic and leftness to navigate through life. They worship this. Meanwhile, it's like they've got a jet. You know what I mean? Like they have all these amazing powers of transformation. So many gifts for the sleeping phoenix. And so they have this jet. It's like this high-powered jet that can fly from, the mainland to Europe in like 5 minutes. They can fly up, and they can fly down, they can turn on a dime, they can do all these maneuvers. They're this amazing vehicle, right? And what do? Where is it? Oh, I don't have that. Just a sec. So what they do is they take this jet, right, and they're driving it like a car, right, going 35 miles an hour, stopping at the stop sign. I gotta obey all the rules, right? I have to be in the cross of planning, right? And there's this amazing gifts that you have, and you're not even tapped into them, right? And so this is the karmic partner. Right? The clipboard guy. This is the clipboard guy. This is the leftness. Right? He's got like this barely drivable Pinto. That's what he's driving compared to your jet. And he's teaching you. He's telling you. He's criticizing you. You have to drive your jet like a Pinto, like me. Right? And I'm going to correct you because I'm like the hall monitor. Right here. So this is logic. So he would use logic over your intuition. Give me the proof. Who said that? Give me the proof. Give me the receipts. I need the proof. Right? So he's strategy over feeling. It's all about strategizing. It's all about control over surrender. Systems over spirit. Be reasonable over be real. Telling you to be reasonable, not real. You're too much. You're too emotional. Right? He's the walking embodiment of the old left masculine frequency that's dying. And you're the phoenix coded. Right? You're right variable. You're emotionally mutative woman. And you keep deferring back to him, right? Because the cross of planning conditioned you to worship the intellect, and the intellect doesn't have the power that you have deep within. It's like the iceberg, right? The little tip that you could see, that's the intellect, the depth of who you are as a right being, right, is amazing. You've taken in so much of your right. You've taken in so much frequency. Like you're the deep ocean. I keep using that analogy for the divine feminine. You're the deep ocean. He's only got this. It's very limited. This is the Pluto and the 60. His intellect is very, very limited compared to you and the depth that you have as a right being, right? This is gathering, right? It's all about the brain, gathering information and manipulating it and then memorizing. Our whole education system is about memorizing, parroting back things, being able to pull out the minutia of details, the TMI guy, right? You ask them a question and they gotta tell you where they found it and what they were doing that day, and it's like, oh, I can't take all these details, right? Just get to the point of your communication, right? So this is what you've been doing as right, and I've seen and worked with so many women that have denied their rightness, and tried to fit themselves into this left world, and their body pays the price. They burn out like big time. So the patriarchy conditioned you. You've been conditioned by the patriarchy to obey mental authority. Well, he's got all the details. He's got the logic, right? He's got the letters behind his name because he's the rich man, right? Maybe not like materially, right? But he's rich, he's successful in the cross of planning. I have to obey him, right? This is all conditioning that has to end. Your trauma conditioned you to mother and fix this guy, the clipboard guy, right? So if you try to drag your karmic clipboard guy into the new cross of the sleeping phoenix through that 41, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So he's the final boss, right, of your left conditioning. He's literally the doorman of the old world that says, are you sure? You sure you want to leave the system? Are you sure you want to leave the cross of planning? You sure you don't want to keep mothering me and fixing me and healing me? And the only way that she can pass through into the 41 is Aquarius. You got to get Aquarius on his ass. And Aquarius means I detach. I detach, I observe. I disentangle my emotions from you. I disentangle my soul from you. And, right, I love you, but I'm not staying in the spell. And watch my last video. I talk about the karmic spell. I love you. I really do. But loving you doesn't mean that I abandon myself. Right? Myself comes first. My soul journey comes first. Right? And you wake yourself up. You do the work. You do the work. And especially if you're an open solar plex woman, stop absorbing his emotions that he's not feeling. He's a head on a stick with a clipboard, riding his Pinto, telling you that you're wrong because you're not riding your jet like a Pinto. Right? This is the limitation. Pluto in the 60. You're ready to let it go. I hope you're ready to let it go if you're on my fractal. Right? So it's time to really embrace your gifts as a right being. So what does this look like? Right? What does it look like generally speaking with the left going and the right coming in? Experts. The experts are losing their pedestal. People aren't trusting the science anymore. They're not trusting the doctors and the medical system. We're seeing that. They're seeing the money and the corruption, right? Systems not working like they used to, right? Careers and roles built on strategy are collapsing. Karmic relationships based on logic and duty are suffocating. Bodies rebelling against over-planning and overworking. Right? That's a big sign. Mental authority becoming unreliable. Can't rely on your mind. Your mind will go crazy right now with anxiety. Not being able to sleep, not being able to turn your mind off, worrying and fretting, right? That's all a sign that this left is going. This is the mental awareness system. We can't rely on our mind. decisions anymore. This is going. The right's coming in. What does this mean? It means your intuition becomes louder now than your logic. Your emotional truth is impossible to ignore. Right? I'm like really depressed. I'm really sad. I'm feeling hopeless. You can't talk yourself out anymore like you used to with the left. Right? You can't ignore it. Body's demanding rest. Not being able to push through anymore. Overriding your body. Your body is loud now, right? And it will tell you when you need to rest, when you need to embrace your own rhythm, right? And your presence. Healing's happening now through connection, not protocol, right? The Western medical system is collapsing. People choosing alignment over obligation, right? Auras are becoming the real credentials. Auras, and that means frequency. You're trusting the frequency of people more than their credentials and their qualifications. I feel really good around this healer, right? They're the embodiment of healing. I go to the doctor's office and I'm like, oh, I get such a bad vibe. He gives me such a bad vibe, this guy. I don't trust him, right? He's like a machine, and he's treating me like a machine. That's the left. It's going. Right? Authenticity. People want this. I'm hearing this word so much now. It's in the zeitgeist. We don't want the fakeness anymore. We want the authenticity. So this is like stop trying to drag your left, not self success story through the eye of the needle. All your credentials. Well, I'm a doctor. I have a PhD. You see, people put that on their email address and stuff. Right? You want to let that go. You're not the rich man anymore. The rich man's not going to go through that needle. You're here to be empty, receptive, and right-coded, the phoenix of the new one. You're like a conduit if you're a right being, right? You receive, that's your gift. And then you're a conduit, and all this, so your awareness comes online, and people start pulling wisdom, not facts and figures and statistics and graphs and pie charts. That's the left. They're pulling wisdom out of you, like gold out of you. People don't need that details and all that bullshit anymore. They need this, right? The right, your rightness, your wisdom. You're the oracle. You can be the oracle. So let me know if you're right. Like, look at your arrows and then list that in the comment section, because people will be, oh, I'm that too. I have that variable too. Okay. So, and I can hear you now. I can hear you now, the people that are left. Right? The people that are left. Well, what about me? Does that mean I'm not part of the mutation? Do I get left behind? I hear that from the 3740s and the people with the 16 and the 9, right? The cross of planning codes. Okay, so let's just do the overview for the left people. For the left people that are on my fractal. They're not the clipboard guy, right? For you, so leftness is simply, what leftness means is strategic. It means focused, linear, repetitive, consistent, detail-oriented, structured consciousness. It's basically the architecture of reality. And rightness is the atmosphere of reality. Right? But so both still matter in a sense, but the center of gravity is shifting more to the right. Before it was like to the left. It was way more to the left. So the basically the species is evolving towards emotional, receptive, spiritual awareness, and that's the rightness, right? So in the cross of planning, leftness was weaponized, right? So weapons, it was weaponized leftness, and that was like we needed clear structure, we needed simple stability, grounded support, practical implementation, consistency in a world that's changing too fast. So the left people, you can be, if you're healed, because you're going to mutate the left becomes the container, right? So right people are like the frequency that evolves inside the container. So both are required, and this is a healed left person, right? So the left people have to release this is the healed on my fractal. If you're left, you need to release over-identification with your mind, fear of being spontaneous, attachment to knowing the plan. I need to know the plan. Controlling outcomes, controlling people. You have to let that go of. Trying to rescue right people. Needing predictability. Proving yourself. Managing other people's emotions. So basically the mind, right, is no longer the authority. The brain is no longer the authority. It's your body. Your body is the authority now. So leftness is the operating system, not the decision maker. Not the decision maker. So if you have left arrows, we're not saying you should be right, because you don't want to go against who you are. You're being asked to stop over functioning, stop controlling, and stop leading with the mind, right? So if you look at the phoenix, right? The left means, right? The phoenix rises without a nest, right? So the left being is like you're the nest for the phoenix. You look at it like that. So your job is to be steady in a world that becomes more and more intuitive. You become steady. Right? Which is grounded, simple, not over identifying with the mind. Anyway, I can talk about that in a future video too, more, if people would like that. So let me know if you're left or right. Okay. So if we just go back to this. I don't know if we have to go more into the clipboard guy. I think you'll probably have a good, you probably have one of these in your life, like your boss or your father, your husband, your boyfriend, right? So this is like one of the phrases that the clipboard guy says is, I don't know unless I prove, right? You don't know. He'll say, you don't know anything until I approve of it, right? Of how you know this, right? This is totally Cathar stuff here. Right? So he's the one, he's got like a city permit, a dictionary and a ruler in his back pocket. Basically, you don't know. You have to prove. So right away you start questioning and doubting your own intuition. Especially when you play this game with him, because you're worshiping that intellect, you're completely denying the power that's already within you. So when he says, where did you get that? And you come out with an intuitive insight. The translation is, I don't trust your intuition. Who taught you that? Your inner authority is invalidated, right? Invalid. That's not what that word means. Those people, when you're speaking and you're in your flow, and they stop your flow and say, no, that's not what that word means. The word actually means this, right? And then they give you all the data, right, of the origins of that word, the Latin meaning, and blah, 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 the TMI, right? In your flow, you're just shut down, basically. So this is, I need to dominate. I need to dominate the semantic fields so that you question yourself. Can you prove that? Right? Your body-based knowing threatens my dying architecture. Because the clipboard guy knows that his days are numbered, right? He can feel it. The changes. He's no longer in the pedestal anymore. So I never said that, like the fighting with the words, right? The semantics. And it's like, I'm gaslighting you because linear memory is my weapon. That's a gift of the left, my memory, right? I didn't say that. I said this, right? It's the lawyer, right? He's got to prove his argument, right? Overpowering you. And you're translating what he really said. Because this is the thing, like people can lie with their words, but their energy doesn't lie, right? So as a right being, you're tuned into the energy. This is what your energy was really saying, right? Yeah, your word said this, but he'll go to the words. Well, I didn't mean that. Right? No, this is what I said. These were the actual words. Meanwhile, there was a whole other communication going on here, right? Especially if he's closed, he's got a defined solar plexus and you're open. All those repressed emotions you're absorbing. It's kind of be crazy making, right? To be with an unhealed left, defined solar plex person. So this is the mansplaining, right? That you're not prepared for. I'm going to mansplain to you what's really going on. I'm going to logic you, right? So this is your, right? As a right being, divine feminine, you know through the wave, you know through the environment, you know through instinct, you know through resonance, you know through recognition, you know through aura, frequency, and rightness. You just know. You're very, very wise, is what I want to tell you. And the clipboard guy is all about analysis, rationality, complete detachment from his body. He's all about semantics. He's all about language. He's all about leftness. He's all about the tribal bargain. He's the cross the planning clipboard guy. So his whole existence is a frequency mismatch with you. The only way this works is you remain not self. You continue to ride this jet plane, this amazing jet plane, like an old Pinto like him. You diminish yourself, you make yourself small, you put him up on a pedestal. It's ridiculous that you're doing that, right? And why are you doing it? Because you're conditioned to do it from your mother and your maternal line, right? So this is the cross of planning conditioning, right? And this is all about not trusting your inner knowing. And this is your trauma conditioning, right? Your nervous system. Your nervous system learns stay small and compliant to stay safe. And the clipboard guy is familiar, right? He feels like home. He feels like home to you. But the home as a prison. not your real home. It's a prison, right? Not home as a sanctuary or a place where you feel peaceful, where your nervous system relaxed. So what he's doing, right, he's shutting you down because you need space. The right beings need space. They need energetic space. Energetic space. In the clipboard guy lives on interruption. Interruption. Because he's not embodied, he's not in his body, he's not in tune with you. Right? You're there having your space, and he's barging in. Right? Overstepping your boundaries with whatever is on his left and his leftness, obsessed with details and this and that. He comes barging in with his leftness. He's not attuned to your rightness. Right? Rightness is very sensitive to energy. Leftness is not. They're not sensitive to energy. So he can interrupt your flow, right? He forces his mechanics onto you. So he wants you to operate like him. Strategic, linear, focused, when you're all about receptivity, seeing the big picture. He makes you doubt your inner authority. And this is the most dangerous part because you stop trusting yourself. Right? You stop trusting yourself. You collapse into a not self to survive. That's your cross-planning identity. And this kills the mutation that's inside you. Completely kills the mutation inside you. So he's becoming obsolete in the cross of planning. Right? So the next phase of the cross of the sleeping phoenix is individual inner authority. Right? This is the breakdown. Right? So it's not like right beings are becoming superior. Right? That they'll just completely become superior and the pendulum swings over. It just means that their operating system is the future. How you operate is the future for humanity, right? Clipboard guys like Windows 98, right? And you're like Apple Vision Pro, right? Your operating system. So his power source is ending. The program's not going to feed him anymore. He's not going to be top dog anymore in that sense, right? So he thrives in structure, predictability, control, obligation, how it's always been, right? And this is ending. This clipboard, there's not going to be a power pen anymore for him. So he's not your authority, Divine Feminine. Your body is your authority. Your wave is your knowing if you have a closed solar plexus, right? And being able to read the environment if you're an open solar plexus person. And your rightness is a mutation. Your intuition is a future sense. It's not superstition or something to be skeptical about. It's your future sense. And clipboard guy's not the villain. He's just guarding the threshold that you have to move through, right? And once you stop asking him for permission and looking for his validation, am I driving my jet like his Pinto? The spell breaks. The spell will break. So it's really about you claiming your power right now. Okay. And where do we want to go next here? Okay. So that's one thing that we're leaving behind for the cross of planning. And my commitment to you is to help guide you as a projector in 3 parts right. Because I approach, Ra, the founder of human design, he was 3 parts left, right? I'm 3 parts right, and I've got 1 left arrow, and this is how I'm able to communicate. I'm able to put the slides together. I'm able to organize my awareness. So I appreciate having that left, because if I were 4 parts right, I couldn't teach like this, right? I'm all alone right now in my cottage. But with this, I can access my awareness. So that's a gift of mine. So this is how I approach human design. Not from a logical place, from a very intuitive, in the now place, right? So you may be feeling that it's quite different from other human design teachers. Okay, so let's go into the fractal reading, tarot reading. So this is a good time to, put it on pause and go have some water or go use the washroom, just do some long, deep breathing, and then this is when we ground it. So you learn more. So I combine the tarot and then with what I've been speaking about. Okay, so let's go. So this is the fractal read. So position 1, I should have saved that as a higher resolution. I apologize for that. Because it's not, could be better. As a PDF, I'll make note of that next time. 7 of Wands, right? The 7 of Wands. So what part, the question for my fractal was, what part of your old survival identity can't pass through the eye of the needle? 7 of Wands, right? Hyper defensiveness. Your identity that's defensive. Fighting for your worth. Arguing with clipboard guy to get validated from him. To prove. Right? Prove that I'm left too. I'm logical. When you're not. And standing your ground because no one gets you. Right? Instead of just relaxing. If someone doesn't get you, they don't get you. Right? Don't be wasting your energy. Right? This is this old self that has to go. Fighting to exist, looking for validation, looking for applause, all from the external, right? So this is I have to fight. I have to fight to exist, and this is trauma. This is coming from trauma and wounding. It's guarded. It's reactive. It's always bracing for the next attack. Right, the next criticism. So this is you trying to fly in a battlefield instead of a sky. Right? So ascend as the phoenix. Don't be battling these people on the ground. Fly up into the sky, like transcend this nonsense. This isn't you. You have to let this go. So you can't fight your way through that 41st gate. You can't fight your way through the needle. You have to surrender your armor. You need to take your armor off now. And leftness is defense. Leftness is on the defense. Rightness is trust. Right? Embracing your rightness is to trust. And this doesn't, if you're right, left, arrows, it doesn't matter. This is for the whole fractal, if you're left or right. So how is the karmic showing you, right here, how is the karmic showing you exactly what must be released? Justice, 3 of Swords. So this is karmic contract pain in its purest form. So justice is the karmic contract, right? And 3 of Swords is the heartbreak. Betrayal, self-abandonment, trauma loop, right? So clipboard guy, frequency here. He's the judge. That's justice, right? He's the wound, 3 of Swords. He's the one that's enforcing the old karmic law. You must obey me, right? You're married to me. You need to obey me. You need to respect me. You need to honor me, no matter what BS is coming out of my mouth, right? The karmic law. You can't leave me because you made a vow that you would be with me until you died, right? You can't do that because you're my wife. Basically, another phrase would be, you're my possession. And take that into your other karmic relationships. It doesn't have to be with a spouse or partner. It could be with a JOB. It could be with your ex, right? Your ex that you're co-parenting with. Well, you need to do this because I'm his father and I got to say about this, right? And you're the mother, and yeah, you have to let go of this, right? This is what this is saying. What needs to be released is you playing small and following the cross of planning. Well, I should do this or I should behave this because I'm in this tribal role. No, you're letting that go. And he's the archetype of your pain, the pain of your teacher. So your pain is coming through the karmic. So this combo is saying your karmic breaks your heart. Your karmic is continually breaking your heart. Whoever the karmic is, the situation, boss, father, sibling, husband, partner, whatever it is, right? They are breaking your heart. They're breaking your heart so you finally break the contract. So you finally have the self-love to break the contract. So the karmic's coming in with the knife to the metaphoric knife to the heart, right? Continually hurting you. In the moment the contract breaks, you exit from the cross of planning timeline, right? You move into the needle. You move into that 41st gate. And this is exactly when the Phoenix era, this is what the Phoenix era requires, that you move from the karmic situation, the karmic relationship. What am I still clinging to? Where am I still clinging to leftness instead of trusting my authority? Where am I still clinging to this leftness world? King of Swords reverse. This is the clipboard guy. If there's a tarot card for the clipboard guy, it's this, the King of Swords reversed. So this is overthinking. You need to let this go. Overthinking, mental domination, intellectual superiority, needing proof, self-criticism, perfectionism, self-doubt, harsh inner judge. So this is, you've internalized the karmic masculine. That's what this says. You've internalized the karmic masculine. So your left brain tyrant must fall. Your left brain tyrant must fall. Your inner tyrant must fall. Your inner critic must fall. Right? He can't enter the mutation. You can't bring this King of Swords reversed with you. The old mental authority is glitching and it's losing control. So this is like literally the end of the cross of planning is over when you let this go. You know, you're clinging to logic, right? What's the new mutation? Or rightness-based awareness activating. The Page of Cups and the Fool, right there. So this is innocence, right? It's intuition, it's emotional purity, it's play. It's new perception. It's trust, it's spontaneity. It's 0 point consciousness. This is the 0 card. It's leaping without mental permission. This is rightness. This is the new species. This is the gate 41. The Page of Cups is your emotional aura, becomes your guided system. The Fool is saying to stop asking clipboard guy for approval and just jump. Don't be looking at the clipboard guy. Should I do this? Do you think it's safe? Do you think it will make money? Right? Can I please, Daddy? Can I? No. You're going to leap. You're leaving clipboard guy behind. And you're leaping. Right? You're making the leap. Okay. This is the exact mutation that you need, is to make the leap. Is just make the leap into trust. Into trust. Position. The next position is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next one in the 5th position here. What timeline opens when you release the karmic and the old identity? Right? Releasing the old identity, releasing the King of Swords reversed. This is the end of conflict, the end of fighting, right? The end of self-sabotage, the end of your painful battles, like fighting for validation, fighting for approval, fighting to help that King of Swords reverse change and heal. Dropping the need to win and to be right. I need to be right. I need to get back at this. And if you're right, you're not going to win against left, right? You're a jet, right? Start acting like a jet and stop acting like a pinto, trying to like have a drag race with another pinto. You're a jet. Fly in the sky. See a pinto, clipboard guy. I'm moving on to the new timeline. Right? So this is laying down, like 5 of Swords reverse is like I'm laying down the swords. I'm walking away. No more fighting. And then the Wheel of Fortune, that's the new timeline. Destiny takes over. Right? Destiny will take over. Quantum shifts. Sudden alignment. The Phoenix era turn, moving into the Phoenix era. So this is once you stop fighting with the karmic, destiny takes the wheel. Destiny takes the wheel. The karmic exits and the wheel turns. So this is you entering into the 41st gate. Right? So this means having the Wheel of Fortune. It's fortune. It's the wind behind your back. Right? As you move forward on your destiny path, things start to happen. Fortunate events start to happen for you. But you need to let this go first. And then the anchor is the 2 of Cups and the 10 of Cups. Right? So this is correct. You move into correct partnership, correct mirroring, correct emotional bonds, correct frequency exchange. So reciprocal, it's equal. Look, they're both giving their cups. It's not like with the karmic, you're giving your cup and he's got no cup to give. All he's got is his head. He's throwing logic at you. No, this is cup to cup. This is soul to soul. Here. And this is the 10 of Cups is the new family, the new soul community, what you're longing for, the healed emotional aura, your Phoenix tribe, not your false fractal. Your false fractal's connected to him, the King of Swords reversed. They're all him. They're all little hymns, right? Even if they're in female form. That community is a community related to the King of Swords reversed. That requires you to be a non-self. This is like, no, I'm being myself. And then I I attract my tribe, my Phoenix tribe, and my correct relationship. So this is the happiness frequency. It's the fulfillment of the mutation. So this is saying the waiting on the other side of where is it? Waiting on the other side of the needle, the 41st, is you as the Phoenix, but then other Phoenixes, right? Your tribe, your soul tribe is on the other side of this 41. That's what this says. And so, in real belonging, real love, real union, spiritual union. And this is you being pulled into soul level connection right here. That's beautiful. So basically it's release the karmic judge, drop your mental armor, trust your emotional innocence, and your entire destiny will shift into real love and real alignment. Love for who you are, not for what you do, not for your dog and pony show and the mask you wear, but actually who you are. I don't know. Seems like a no-brainer, right? To just jump into that, into the new timeline. Remember, I go into deep prayer before these cards, like a shuffle for you. So, and it's they just jump out. The cards just jump out. I'm not doing anything. So, there they are. Okay. So let's go for the twin flame. Here. Okay, so here's the twin flame reading. And I'm going to approach the readings a little bit different. Right? And so the twin flame path is really about self-sovereignty. It's really about self-sovereignty. So it's more about what this path is showing you about yourself, what you need to integrate, what shadow you need to integrate, what wounds you need to integrate. It's about you becoming into union with your own higher self, with your own soul first. So it's really looking at the twin flame, your twin flame, or your karmic, fits in here too, as a mirror, a powerful mirror. So self-sovereignty is union, and carrying your twin or your karmic is separation. It keeps you in separation. So in terms of, twin flames, they've been fused. Twin flames have been fused on the level of their nervous system, their emotional body, their childhood wounding, their karmic patterns, and their attachment trauma. Right? So that would be anxious or avoidant. So the feminine, the divine feminine twin, has been acting like a shock absorber, buffering the masculine karmic or twin from the full impact of his karmic collapse. So what is happening energetically, because you may be in separation from your twin or your karmic, but they're still there. Their presence is there. You feel them. Your mind is looping, right? And all of those are symptoms of an energetic leak. And this means that you're carrying them. You're carrying your twin. You're carrying their karmic. You're buffering them from an ego death, basically. And they have to collapse. And they have to do that on their own. They have to collapse, right? So you have to remember, because I hear this from a lot of women, well, he had such a horrible childhood, right? his mother ignored him, his father beat him, whatever, right? Or he didn't know where his parents were, he was in an orphanage, whatever his story was. You do never want to pity. You never want to pity a person that you're in a relationship with. And this is the thing, we confuse pity with love. Love and pity are completely two different things. Love does not mean you pity someone. That's an excuse to leak your energy, right? And this is keeping your twin and your karmic from having an ego death, right? And if they're a twin, they need to have their ego death. They need to have the ego death. So if you keep carrying your twin flame emotionally, like regulating their emotions, because you're connected through the emotional body, right? So there you are, I feel really depressed, or I feel really sad today. I don't know why. And then you do your work because you know how to alchemize your emotions, and then you're processing these emotions that aren't even yours. They're your twins and your karmic, and they're not doing their work. They're not having the breakdown. You're regulating their emotions. You're regulating their nervous system in a sense too, because you're energetically connected, and they're doing no work. They're staying comfortable wherever they are in their karmic situation, right? So you want to pull back. You want to pull back your energy now. You want to go into this new timeline. You can't carry that resistant, avoidant twin karmic with you, right? So you need to pull back your energy. So this is in terms of the divine feminines. You know, some of you don't know if it's a twin or a karmic. That's why I do those readings for people, because it clearly tells you, now this is a karmic, this is a loop. It's very clear in your charts when you bring your charts together. And then other times it's like, oh yeah, this is totally a twin. It's a totally twin. That's all the markers and the mirroring and everything like that. But does that mean they're going to show up? Maybe no, maybe yes, right? That's the free will. That's their free will. But they're not going to show up if you keep carrying them energetically. So just be aware of that. It's like, I'm going to really pull back my energy. That's my intention. I'm not going to get looped into their field, right? And what they're going through. And not focused on me. So it's a karmic. It can be, if it's a karmic relationship, it can be just as intense as a twin. That's why it can be like, oh, I feel them and they're in my mind all the time. I feel their presence. Yes, that could be very well a karmic, but you can confuse it, oh, it's a twin. They're just as intense. So what matters most is, because the karmic can feel destined, because it's so intense, right? You know, it's destined. That's the power of karma. But what's important now is not the label. The important now is what the connection is showing you on your path. Karmic twin, it's more important about what it's showing you on your path. So the messages, how I'm approaching them now, is all about self-sovereignty, right? And so you can carry your twin karmic energetically, emotionally, psychically, pushing them from the ego death that they have to have, right? So you have to walk through that eye of the needle on your own. You have to walk through that 41st gate on your own. You have to choose you, right? Just like your twin or your karmic has to choose themselves, but you have to choose you. That's most important. And this is returning to your body. It's detaching. Getting Aquarius, I'm detaching. I'm returning to my body. And this will show what the connection is awakening in you. Right? So let's get into this. So what's this connection? This intense soul connection, twin karmic. What's it activating in you that you must release? There's the clipboard guy gang, right? King of Swords reversed, the gang jumped out with the world. So this says completion, done, right? It's the last major arcana. I'm done, I'm completed, the cycle's over, right? This is graduation time. It's the old identity finishing its final loop. So this is saying that you're literally at the threshold. The eye of the needle is right there. It's right in front of you. And the world is saying this phase of your life, the way that you loved in relationships, the way that you attached in a relationship, the way that you waited, the way that you carried others, is done. So let it end. And then the King of Swords reversed. This can be it can be the external clipboard guide, but it can be the internalized clipboard guide. This is the inner critic, right? This is the analytical, left-minded domination, the harsh voice that like doubts your intuition, your intuitive knowing, overthinks, needs proof, tries to control, clings to logic, over-embodiment, disrupts your feminine intuition, right? And it also represents the mental projection of the karmic or twin that you've internalized. You've internalized them, right? But it's coming from your karmic or your twin, who you consider your twin. So this is exactly the doorway, right? Right here is to end this inner critic and this clipboard guy on the external and the internal. So what lesson or ego death must you face without you buffering them? What ego death must they face? Three of Swords reversed. This is their heartbreak, not yours. It's their heartbreak. Right? This is the abandonment wound. You can't feel their abandonment wound for them. Right? You've been processing their wounding. They're not doing their work. Right? This is emotional collapse. The heartbreak that they've been avoiding. The wound that they refuse to feel. The pain that you've been absorbing for them. So they must feel their own abandonment wound, their own rejection wound, and they need to face their karmic pattern, deal with their guilt, integrate their trauma, have their ego break open, right? So the divine feminine has been carrying their heartbreak. You've been carrying their heartbreak, cushioning them from the truth of your own behavior, of their own behavior and wounding. Three of Swords reverse says you can't hold on to their pain anymore. You can't be mothering their inner child anymore. They must break open. This is their work to do. It's the ego death that they can only have alone. They can only do this alone. Okay. And so where are you still engaged with them through your nervous system? Right? So this is a trauma bond profile right here. 5 of Pentacles, 6 of Wands. Right? So I need their recognition. I need them to recognize me. I want victory. I want them to see me. Right? I want validation. If it's the energy of, well, if they choose me, right, your twin or your karmic, if they choose me, I'm worthy. If they recognize me, I've arrived. I'll finally be happy. If they acknowledge the connection, I'm safe. And this is the wound of rejection, right? With the Five of Pentacles. This is feeling left out, feeling like no, you're not being chosen, feeling emotionally homeless. The karmic twin dynamic activates both. The desire to be adored and admired, and the fear of being abandoned. Right? So this is you're fused with your nervous system with this. Together they're saying you're entangled because this connection triggers your deepest need to be recognized. To be recognized. And the deepest fear of being left out. Right? So this is why you're fused. This is where you're fused to your twin or karmic. So what does your sovereignty look like right now? King of Pentacles. Stable, right? Stable, grounded, providing for yourself. In your body, in your self-worth, not reactive, not chasing, not destabilized by other people's emotional chaos. This is rooted, you're present. You're physical. You're in your physical. You have emotional solidity. You're self-sufficient. So this, what it looks like, sovereignty for you, is financial grounding, emotional consistency, being the stable one for yourself, not others, but for yourself, not for them, not your twin, not for your karmic, but for you. This is tending to your body, taking care of your body, and returning to your own timeline. Not worrying when they wobble, when you feel them wobble. You're not worried about them, right? You're in this, the King of Pentacles. So this is saying sit on your throne. Sit on your throne. Don't leave your body to go rescue others. So what I say to people is be the lighthouse. The lighthouse doesn't run into the water to save the ships, all the ships. The lighthouse stays on the shore and radiates, right? It's solid like the King of Pentacles. And then the ships come to her. Okay. So what timeline opens when you stop carrying your karmic or your twin? The moon. Right? And then the Queen of Wands reversed. So what opens up for you is the unknown, the mystical path. Right? The intuition, your intuition becomes the guide. Walking into a new cycle that hasn't been mapped out by the mind. This is the rightness. Your rightness mutation. It's intuition versus logic, it's inner knowing versus strategy, it's feeling versus planning. And the moon is saying the next phase is spiritual, and it's emotional, and it's intuitive. And it requires you to surrender, not to control. Not to control. So the Queen of Wands reversed, this is the burnout pattern is ending. Right? So Queen of Wands reverse means you've been overgiving, you've been overfunctioning, you've been losing yourself to the connection, you've been too obsessed with the connection, and you're burning your flame for someone else, you're dimming your power to hold the relationship. And when reversed, you stop doing that. Right? This is the divine feminine reclaiming her fire. So the timeline opening is you stop burning yourself out for the connection, right? And enter a path guided by intuition, not intensity, right? So this is totally the Phoenix era frequency. And then what supports you to reclaim your sovereignty? Judgment reversed, right? So this is stop answering the soul call of your twin or karmic. It's saying to answer your own soul call. Don't worry about them. You answer your own soul call. So it's saying release the fixation on your karmic and your twin, release labeling them, release the belief that I have to wake them up, right? I have to wake them up. I have to heal them. Stop resurrecting dead timelines, right? The fantasy, that's the 41st gate, that's the shadow of the fantasy. Let that go, the fantasy of the future with your twin or karmic. And stop listening for cues from their higher self. Stop listening for the clues, right? Stop seeking signs that this is destiny. Right? I have the signs that this is destiny. This is destined. Stop waiting for union. Stop waiting for them to choose you. Stop carrying their transformation. So this says your awakening is not dependent on your karmic in your twin. You don't have to wait. Okay, when he starts to change and wake up, then I'll, right? Then we can move forward. There's no waiting. Saying don't wait for the karmic or the twin. You answer your own soul calling. Their awakening is not your responsibility, and this is sovereignty at the soul level. Okay? So the wrap up for all the cards here, release your old mental identity, let the twin karmic face their own heartbreak, untangle your nervous system, ground into your sovereignty, and follow your intuitive path, right? Not the connection. Follow your intuition. Because your soul is calling you now, right now, to go into the 41st gate. All right? Okay, so that's the video for today, and we are at 2:01:55. Okay, so remember that you can follow me on Instagram, Telegram, and YouTube. YouTube, so if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and like and comment. I love reading the comments down below, like how this video has affected you, especially the readings too. I like to hear about the readings. And I will see you in the next video. So walk through that needle. Do it. This is the time. Our time is now. Okay. Sun Aloha, everyone.